Hello again, watch friends. Welcome back. As most of us know, in fact, all of us probably know, the internet is an incredible source of information. It is immensely vast. It has great depth. It has great breadth. And it's simply unheard of in the last 15 or 20 years, the amount of information that anyone can find using just a simple search, information on almost anything, any hobby, any fact, any information, anything you want. So that's good news and bad news. The good news is, as I just described, that almost anything can be found on the internet. That's great news for us watch connoisseurs, watch enthusiasts, watch collectors. But the bad news is sometimes the good stuff is a little bit difficult to find. So, I'd like to share with you some of my favorite watch-related websites in this video. I'd very much like to hear your comments below. What do you think of these websites? What are your favorite websites? Feel free to share what you know, your comments and information. Okay, so starting with the big guys. When I say the big guys, I mean the major watch-related watch sites. So, one of the major ones is Timezone. Timezone.com. And Timezone is actually several things in one. There's all kinds of news about watches. There's a public forum where people can share their opinions, their ideas and thoughts, the specific brand information. So, for example, let's look at, I'm just picking this at random here. This is the IWC Engineer. One of the nice things about Timezone is that it does have excellent photography. You can, not quite the same as putting a watch on your wrist, but you can get a really good feel for what a watch looks like and how it fits on the wrist. Beautiful photography, really good close-ups. And it's just amazing how well done these images are. Another good example of one of the big guys is a blog to watch. One of the nice things about a blog to watch, at least I think so, is that these stories are very easy to print out. So again, I'm just picking one at random. By the way, this has both news, reviews of watches or styles of watches, special features, buying guides, all kinds of stuff. But let's just pick one of these things right here. This happens to be the Grubel Force Tourbillon. One of the things I like about a blog to watch is that this site and these articles are very conducive. Look at that tourbillon. These articles are very conducive to being printed. And what I like to do is I like to print out the articles and then read them at my leisure. So I like the fact that I can print these out. It's got useful information. Some of the articles are paid by the brand, by the watch brand, but it's always indicated whether it's a paid review or a paid article or not. Most of them are not paid, and the writing is usually pretty good. In fact, it's very good, and I like a blog to watch very much. So this is one of my, let's just pause and look at that dial. Another website, again, one of the biggies, is WatchDXB. WatchDXB has, like some of the others, it's got news, it's got features, it's got forums. I usually come here for the forums. You can find out almost anything in relation to watches at WatchDXB. So I go to the forums, and you can choose different categories. They have general forums, they have brand-specific forums. You can do searching. Really a great website. If you have even an esoteric question about a watch or a brand, you can go to WatchDXB. Joining is free. You can buy and sell watches here. You do have to have at least 100 or so posts before you can sell a watch. But it's really not a place to buy and sell. It's mainly a watch community. I like WatchDXB very much. No mention of websites would be complete without Odinki. Again, Odinki has excellent photography, actually excellent articles. Here's one talking about what water resistance means. If I go into that, you can see it gives some text, examples, usually in-depth kinds of information on various topics. Also conducive to printing, so that you can print it out and read it later. Gives the various different ISO standards. ISO, as you might know, is the International Standards Organization, and has various standard references, specifications that products and processes must meet to meet that standard. So Odinki is another great site that you should know about and you should go to. The next one, and the last one I'll mention as far as the biggies, is WatchTime. WatchTime puts out a magazine called WatchTime, cleverly. And WatchTime has excellent writing. It's probably the best watch magazine out there, and their website is very much similar to their magazine. Here's an article on SIHH, which is coming up in January, I believe. They do coverage of both SIHH. Quite a bit of free material on their website, but some of it requires that you be a subscriber to their magazine and have to sign in before you can get access to it. So Basil World, SIHH. Here's a very interesting thing that I find quite useful, the pronunciation guide, because a lot of watch brands are in French, have French names, and they are difficult to pronounce. So not just the brands, but also the components of a watch or the descriptions of a watch. So anyway, this is WatchTime. Check it out. So those are a few of the big ones that I would call the biggies. Another category of websites I call occasional gems, because you often stumble across these either in doing your own search, or maybe you've been on one of the forums and someone made a post and said you should check out this particular site. So you get there via a number of reasons, and that's how you find these gems. One of which is the Raoul Serology website. Raoul apparently is a watchmaker who went to watchmaking school in the United Kingdom, in London. And here's a very interesting story. It's right here on his homepage. It's called The Wonders of Switzerland. If we look at it, you can see that right there he starts off saying the British School of Watchmaking, I guess is their final year. They have a week-long trip to Switzerland so that the students can meet with the watch companies and share information, learn more about watchmaking, etc. So he took a trip in 2013, and here's his description of his trip. The watches that he worked with, the companies and brands that he visited, some information about him and his colleagues. Just a really, really nice story. So, again, I think this is a gem. I don't know how I found it, but it is quite interesting. And he's a real watchmaker. Another site called the Spring Bar. If you're a Grand Seiko aficionado, like I am, you definitely need to go to this site and look at the Grand Seiko Collector's Guide. This is a multi-page document. Talks about the history, the design, the various models of Grand Seikos. It's got great pictures, detailed facts, anything that you could possibly want to know about Grand Seiko since it first started in the early 1960s is here on this website. This is the Spring Bar and their guide to Grand Seiko. This is fantastic. So again, I ran across this. I don't know how I got to it, but I'm glad I did. I bookmarked it. I come back to it since I'm a Seiko and a Grand Seiko collector. So that's the Spring Bar. The next one is WatchDXB, another excellent website. WatchDXB is a fellow that lives in Dubai. He's a photographer by trade. He's also a watch collector, and he's also a Grand Seiko fan. He talks about Grand Seiko, among other watches. His photography is excellent. Look at that. Doesn't that make you want to have a Grand Seiko high beat with a blue dial? It does me. He talks about different models in his collection. He must have, I think he's got 70 or 80 Grand Seiko models. He has one of just about every, if not every, Grand Seiko. Talks about the version, the movement, the history, where it fits into other products in the big scheme of Grand Seiko. Anyway, WatchDXB. You can see his collection. Again, he talks about other watches as well, and he even gives hints about how to buy watches, especially Grand Seiko. A lot of the excellent Grand Seiko watches don't go up for sale in the United States. They are usually on Japanese websites or Japanese auction sites. So he describes the auction process. He recommends companies that can be your broker and work on your behalf to pick up a piece on one of those Japanese auction sites. So very, very good site. WatchDXB. The next site is called TZUK, and it's another forum which has not just watches but all kinds of things, and it's really these guys on this watch forum really go into quite a lot of depth. So you can really go down a rabbit hole on a particular topic, even an esoteric topic. but it's fun. And you often find yourself, or I should say, I have found myself, starting with a topic, going down further, either links or continuing with the discussion. Next thing I know, 2 hours have passed. So, excellent website. It's called TZUK.com. Not the same as Timezone. They're not affiliated. Finally, in the hidden gems or the occasional gems category, at least as I describe it, is a website called Alliance Serology, or I should say Alliance Serology. Still working on my French. And this is a site which talks about watchmaking and watch repair, but it's got a wealth of information. So, for example, let's say I wanted to learn about something like hairsprings. Go to regulators, go to hairsprings, and here's a very good article that talks about hairsprings, and probably more than you wanted to know about hairsprings, but it's all there. And it's well written, factual, and easy to understand. So that's Under the Loop, the Alliance Horlogerie. And that concludes my list of favorite websites, at least for now. I think I have so many favorites, I'll need to do another version of this video. I'll do a part 2. In that part 2, I'll talk about commerce sites, places to buy and sell watches, and I'll talk about some other sites that are excellent reference websites. So, all the links to these websites will be in the notes to the video. Again, feel free to share your comments either on these particular websites or any websites that you think are excellent, ones that you come back to over and over again, that you would like us to know about, like to share with other watch enthusiasts. And on that note, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.